We hammer it. He tells everyone, listen, I'm telling you guys, Esteban Loaiza is in no condition to pitch tonight. We all, hammer it. We bet against the Toronto Blue Jays. We even went to the game, Scott, even. Esteban Loaiza, word of no lie, bro. He threw 8 innings, a one-hit ball.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I needed a mental break when the season was over. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. I'm like, damn.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Quarterback or coach has to answer for it.
Right.
Goff, Campbell. Listen, I'm not firing Dan Campbell already. I might be shipping Goff. I don't know, but I think the Lions. Again, it's week 1. Are we overreacting? I think the panic meter in Detroit is blaring. I think people are wondering when do the Pistons start.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope all your bets came through the way you wanted it to. Tyrone Johnson's here, and you can hear it right now. If you put your ear to the old, what do they call it? The grindstone, I think it's what it's called. The pavement, the grindstone, whatever roads are made out of. You can hear it. Just take a long listen right now, and you can hear, wah, the referees cheated us, wah. The tush push isn't fair. Wah! Kansas City Jokers 0-2, dead last place, not making the playoffs this year. Well, we're going to come back and beat the New York Giants in week 3. You might not. What a great game yesterday between the Philadelphia Eagles, as they say in Philadelphia, who found a new way to win. Let's be honest, 2017 final score. Their offense was not great. Barely threw for 100 yards. Saquon Barkley did a good job. He didn't run for 100 yards, though. A.J. Brown was in the game. Devontae Smith really wasn't. No Dallas Goedert. But the Eagles and my main man, Jalen Hurts, did to Kansas City what they always do to Kansas City, and that is win. 1, 2, 3 consecutive wins now from Jalen Hurts and the Birds against the Kansas City Chiefs. And let's get into it and break it down a little bit. And I want to focus on the Kansas City side more than the Philly side just for a moment. Because all the hubbub right now in Kansas City is, wah, the Eagles' offensive line moved before the snap. Well, isn't that rich? Isn't that rich for a team that lived off their right tackle jumping the snap in every single year that the Chiefs won a Super Bowl? Isn't it rich from a Kansas City Chiefs team that lived a charmed life because the referees always favored them and the discrepancy in penalties was always in their favor? Isn't it rich that the only reason they beat the Eagles the first time they played them in the Super Bowl was because of a questionable pass interference or holding call on James Bradbury in the Super Bowl? And now we're getting all ticked off and sensitive to the fact that the referees, not once but twice, I watched the game. I'm not even telling you you're wrong. You're not. The Eagles' offensive line jumped the snap. Good for them. The refs didn't call it. Now, to be fair, if you watch a closed caption sideline view of that jump, and I'll be the first to tell you, Chiefs fans are right in suggesting that the Eagles' offensive line did jump. They did. They did. Oh, they didn't call. Does that bother you? Oh. The reality, though, is that Kansas City is lined up in the neutral zone.
Yep.
And they jumped the snap count on at least one, if not both, of the tush pushes. I think there were 7 total tush pushes. And Kansas City actually did a pretty good job defending it, but not good enough. So I think we can now celebrate, kind of like they're doing at the Sphere with the Wizard Witch, the Wicked Witch of the West, who dies and dies and dies, right? I think the Wicked Witch of the AFC is dead. And there's a couple other aspects to this game that, if you're a Chiefs fan, have to bother you to your core. Patrick Mahomes is not playing like Patrick Mahomes. He has a couple plays a game that are Superman-esque that no one else in the league can pull off, and he's done that now in both games that they've lost. But he misses a wide open, I think it was Thornton, right?
Yep.
Wide open down the field and overthrew him by 7 yards. That ain't Patrick Mahomes. Came back to him later and hit him for a nice touchdown. But with a lot more time on the clock, that changes the entire game, and Mrs. Thornton wide open down the field. Kelsey had one nice catch, little shoestring catch, gained like 15 yards on it. Bad pass from Mahomes, but when he threw the same exact pass late in the fourth quarter, Travis Kelsey couldn't catch the ball. And here's the problem now with Travis Kelsey. Travis Kelsey had 4 catches on 6 targets for about 60 yards yesterday. That ain't great. That ain't Hall of Fame worthy. But every single time he catches the ball, it's a rah-rah celebration like it's his first ever catch in the league or like he just won a Super Bowl. And on the shoestring catch, which was huge on that drive for them, Travis Kelsey started doing the big ball celebration, all right? And he was celebrating so much, they had to take him off the field. Yep. It happened in Brazil in week 1, where he celebrated and celebrated and celebrated, and then was not on the field for the 2-point conversion after his lone touchdown. And it happened again yesterday. Big ball celebration. He then missed the next 3 plays because he was winded from celebrating. And then, of course, comes the turning point of the game. Patrick Mahomes throws a dime. They've completed this pass 1,000 times. And Travis Kelsey, whose mind clearly is not on being a great tight end. I get it. You're in love. You're getting married. She's a big star. He drops a guaranteed touchdown pass, which again changes the outcome of the game. And when he has a chance to get back and try to make a play, which he's not going to make because he's not fast enough to catch the Eagle DB that made the interception, your rookie offensive lineman, who weighs 300 plus pounds, is the guy that runs all the way back and knocks the dude out of bounds. Travis Kelsey is standing there looking at his hands.
Yep.
His hands betrayed him, Tyrell.
What happened? What happened?
What did you guys do to me? Oh, it's so fantastic. Like, I want to be clear. When people attack me on Twitter, when I go out after the game yesterday, and I waited. I wanted to push send on that damn thing 20 minutes before I did. And I'm ha-haing and laughing about, Travis Kelsey and the Chiefs being 0-2 and dead last place in the entire conference, not just the division 2 games in. When people attack me, this is the typical attack. I get one of 2 things. The first one is, oh, yeah, your Jets suck. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, they do. I own it. I root for one of the worst franchises in the history of pro sports. If you think you're hurting me or you're bothering my feelings by telling me something, A, I already know, and B, I happen to agree with, I don't lose an ounce of sleep when I get those tweets.
That's right.
Then I get a couple people who make fun of me going to prison and all that.
That's tough.
Sometimes that hurts. Sometimes.
It's a cold shot. That's a cold shot. That's a cold shot.
I have to be honest. That hurts. But you're just lashing out at a truth teller. That's all you're doing. I don't make crap up. I'm just here to tell you the truth. And the truth is, no matter how you want to slice it, no matter how you want to now tell me, well, they're going to beat the Giants, I'm not sure they will. The Giants played the most entertaining game of the day yesterday, albeit in a loss, gave up a 64-yard field goal to go into overtime. I mean, what are you supposed to do there, right? You just got to kind of bow down to what's his name? Cowboys kicker. Brandon Aubrey, former soccer player.
I don't learn kicker names.
Who's now the best kicker in football. It ain't even close.
He is.
There's no guarantee the Chiefs, beat the New York Giants. I think they will. But the way they're playing, their offense isn't very good. Defensively, you can throw against them, and don't get confused by the stats from yesterday. The quarterback with the best stats yesterday was Russell Wilson. So can Russell Wilson and the Giants go into Arrowhead and lay a 30 burger on them? Why the heck not? And wouldn't that be even better? Go to 0-3. Because then you'll see the real Chiefs fans. Then you'll see Kansas City fans going back to the real people they are, which are very nice Midwestern people who love their barbecue and tolerate their football team. But I think we can now say it. I think we can enjoy it. Ding dong, the witch is dead. The wicked witch is dead. See, I root against those types of dominant performances from a franchise. I hated the Patriots, but I'm a Jet fan.
Right.
Kansas City was a cute little story when Mahomes was a rookie, but now it's obnoxious. Now it's just flat out obnoxious, and you can complain all you want about the tush push. Here's the difference between Kansas City with all the winning they've done and Philadelphia, who's done a lot of winning themselves, okay? The reality happened on the very last snap of the game where the Eagles are taking a knee. And Chris Jones, who also tried to do the worm after celebrating a big tackle on Saquon late in the game, he goes up to the line of scrimmage, there you see it, and he says to Jalen Hurts, you didn't even throw for 100 yards. Because all this kid cares about is stats. How many sacks did I get? What did I do? It's not about winning and losing anymore. It's about get me mine. And Jalen Hurts' response was awesome. He's like, shut your ass up. We won the game. Like, it's about winning. And if it's about winning, Jalen Hurts is now a top 5 quarterback, maybe top 3, and the Eagles are still the team to beat. We'll go through the entire NFL for you as we get cooking here on a Monday on the Craig Carton Show. Don't go nowhere.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It was nice to see that even though they couldn't follow the same blueprint as last season or just the way that everyone thought their offense was going to run this year, Josh Jacobs struggled and Jordan Love stepped up. And if you're a Packer fan, that's what you were hoping to see, is that in the moments where you can't rely on the run, can the quarterback that you invested a lot of money into, now draft capital, putting weapons around him, rise to the occasion, and he did.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
When the game is on the line and provide the kill shot to knock out an opponent. It's like they're afraid to put the Buffalo Bills away. The safer call was giving it to Derrick Henry and giving it to Lamar Jackson on the ground, as opposed to putting it in your MVP's hands and allowing him to make plays in the passing attack. I just don't understand it.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
They trade Marina Mabry, then they turn around, and then obviously they fire Teresa Weatherspoon, and it's been a hot mess. You go and, draft Cardozo and Reese, basically 2 of the same player, meaning bigs that can't step out and shoot. So it's a little bit of a clown show when you talk about the Chicago Sky.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles take care of business against Kansas City. Eagles 2-0, Kansas City now 0-2. And we talk a lot about who's the heir apparent, like who's the next quarterback that we can say is better than Mahomes or can overtake Mahomes. And for a long time, people have said that it's Joe Burrow.
Yes.
Smoking on that Joe Burrow. Oh, my Coca-Cola's here. Bring it in, bring it in. This guy stands at the door, just puts his arm in the door and holds it out there. Like somehow I'm going to make the glass of soda, magically float over to me.
Over to you, yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for that. My wife's listening. Now she knows I'm drinking a Coca-Cola.
You're not supposed to be drinking Coca-Cola.
Sorry, honey.
It's Diet Coke.
That's
Diet
Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
But it's always been, that it's Joe Burrow, smoking on that Joe Burrow because he had done it.
Yeah.
Well, Jalen Hurts is the guy. So anyone left in America that has something negative to say about Jalen Hurts, dude, it's got to stop.
It's people in the chat.
It's got to stop
people in the chat.
Because at the end of the day, the quarterback's job is not to throw the most touchdown passes. I know that seems counterintuitive. The quarterback's job is not to throw for 500 yards every single week. The quarterback has a single job. And don't ever get this twisted. The job of a quarterback in the NFL is to win games. Period. Stop. Now, sometimes you win games, strength of your legs. Okay, great. Sometimes you win games, you're throwing a rock all over the field. Okay, great. Sometimes you just manage the game well. Sometimes it's audibilizing it to all that stuff, right? But at the end of the day, a quarterback should be judged based on whether or not he wins or his team loses. Because last year, Joe Burrow put up better stats than every other quarterback in the sport, and they didn't make the playoffs. Jalen Hurts did not have the numbers that Joe Burrow had, but Jalen Hurts is now a champion, and he's got a Super Bowl MVP. And later in the show, I'll show you where he now ranks on my, in the moment, top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. But it brings me to Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow, as you know by now, is out for a long time. They're saying at least 3 months. Apparently got turf toe yesterday. I don't know why we're showing Adam Schefter when I have an NFL insider that works for us. Jordan Schultz is reporting, and look, Adam agrees that he's going to need surgery and he's going to be out for 3 months.
Yes.
So you're going to add that to the list now. And here's the problem with Joe Burrow. And I'm going to give you one of those Sky Mall rock sayings that I used to be addicted to and buy all the time. It's basically a rock, and they inscribe different sayings into it, right? So what is the greatest ability of all, Tyrone? Do you know?
Availability.
You are on point today.
Listen.
Availability is the greatest ability of all. And no one's going to dispute how good Joe Burrow is when he plays. But if we take a look for a second at his injury history, the problem is that he doesn't play a lot. 2020 tears the ACL, the MCL, the PCL, and the meniscus. How many games did he play in 2020?
In 2020, he played a total of 10 games.
10 games. So he missed just less than half the season. 2021, he dislocated the pinky. 2022, MCL sprain. Just out of curiosity, in 22, how many games did he play?
He played 16.
Okay, so good year for him,
yes.
But he did it on a bum knee. 2023, he tears the wrist ligament. How many games did he play?
He played 10 games again that year.
Okay, so he missed 7 games that year.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's got a grade 3 turf toe. Probably dislocated it, but whatever it is, it's a grade 3 turf toe, which does require surgery. So now he's out for 3 months, so that's 12 games he's going to miss. Maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't. Cincinnati, though, is sitting in a weird spot. They're 2-0. They should be 0-2. They were terrible against the Cleveland Browns in week 1, and the Browns field goal kicker missed an easy kick, or else they lose that game. Mm-hmm. And then yesterday against the Jacksonville Jaguars,
Trevor Lawrence.
Horrendous call against Travis Hunter late.
Yes.
A pass interference call that never should have been called on a 4th down. If that call's not made, then the Jaguars win the game. They're 2-0. Trevor Lawrence had a couple brain-dead plays in that game where you're like, have you ever played football before? But give Jake Browning credit. Jake Browning comes in. The Bengals are losing 14-7. The dude throws 3 interceptions, but he also threw 2 tutties and finds a way, final drive of the game, to lead the Bengals down the field for a win. So they're 2-0. Jake Browning's their quarterback. They need a quarterback. I know Browning's done a really good job, to be fair to him, when he has replaced Joe Burrow, but you need a real quarterback. I've got one of 2 options for you. Option number 1's the easiest one. You trade for Kirk Cousins today. Kirk Cousins is available. Obviously, he's not going to play for Atlanta ever again. We'll get to that later on. And you need a veteran quarterback. And he's now a full year removed from the Achilles. I think Kirk Cousins in a couple weeks could become the starting quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. Or you get creative. And the creative idea I have for you is looking to the quarterback that right now leads the league in yards. He's 0-2, but he leads the league in yards. And believe it or not, that is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is not the future of the New York Giants. As good as he was yesterday, other than that last interception where he threw the ball for grabs that cost them the game, if I'm the Bengals, I call the New York Giants. I trade a 5th-round draft pick, whatever it might be, to the New York Giants for Russell Wilson. That allows the Giants to start the Jackson Dart era. You have a veteran backup in Jameis Winston, and it works for everybody. So there are 2 guys right now. I think neither one of them are free agents. I know the report is that the Bengals are going to start looking at free agent quarterbacks, veteran guys we've heard of who haven't latched on with the team yet. But I think the answer is not to go that route. I think the answer is either a trade with Atlanta for Kirk Cousins or a trade with the Giants for Russell Wilson. Neither guy's going to make you moist. But you started off the season 2-0. You're in first place in your division. Baltimore is the team to beat. They dropped another 40-burger yesterday. So if I'm the Bengals and I got to immediately replace Joe Burrow with a competent veteran quarterback, I just gave you 2.
I like it. The only issue is if what I'm hearing from the Giants is true, they actually do want to be patient with Jackson Dart. Is a 5th-round pick worth maybe disrupting his development?
Well, they're 0-2. And
Right.
here's what I learned yesterday about the New York Giants. And more on the Giant Dallas came a little bit later on the show. They brought Jackson Dart into a game that Russell Wilson was having his best statistical game since he was a Seahawk. Mm-hmm. And he threw for more than 400 yards. And for some reason, when he's playing the best ball he's played in a long time, the New York Giants decided to bring Jackson Dart in to run the football. That's how you get yourself fired. So I know the Giants are desperate to go to Jackson Dart. I'm giving you a chance to do that without making a dumb in-game decision like replacing the hottest quarterback in football for a backup quarterback to run the ball. More show coming up right after this. Don't touch it.
It was nice to see that even though they couldn't follow the same blueprint as last season or just the way that everyone thought their offense was going to run this year, Josh Jacobs struggled and Jordan Love stepped up. And if you're a Packer fan, that's what you were hoping to see, is that in the moments where you can't rely on the run, can the quarterback that you invested a lot of money into, now draft capital, putting weapons around him, rise to the occasion? And he did.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a punt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Is that confirmed? All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. One little correction. We make mistakes here like anybody else. The Giants-Chiefs game is at the Meadowlands. Oh, it's a Giants home game. I said that could the Giants go to Kansas City and win. So my bad on that. Thank you for correcting me on that. But people on me like, why not Rice? When it comes to, hey, real quick also, just to share I'm not a bad guy. So I know Jake Browning did lead the Bengals to a win, game-winning drive despite having 3 interceptions in that game.
Not a lot of respect,
I'm trying to replace him immediately with either Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And you pick your favorite veteran quarterback you want to bring into Cincinnati. Regardless of what Cincinnati does in regards to starting someone other than Jake Browning, I do want to point out that Jake Browning is going to be just fine because his girlfriend's name is Stephanie Niles.
Yeah.
And she put out, so I'm not talking about a man's woman behind his back. She put out this side boob. Fantastic. So I just thought I would acknowledge that whatever happens to Jake Browning, it appears that he's going to be just fine. Just fine.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
Just fine.
He'll be all right.
Just fine.
Yeah, I happened to check the social media because I knew you were going to bring her up. She does a lot of those outfits of the day for the games. That's kind of all she does for social media.
By the way,
she keeps it pretty quiet.
I've got no problem with that. Get ready with me videos.
Yeah, that's all she does. She doesn't really do a lot of the provocative things. It's just
she's got a job. Sleeping with Browning.
Jake Browning.
Making him happy. That's a job, is it not?
It is. She may also have another job she doesn't post on social media.
Nah, that's her job. Her job is to date that guy. The soon-to-be backup quarterback.
The starter. He's a starter
Bengals.
This Sunday, though.
As of right now, he's
a starter.
Yes. Right now, she is sleeping with the starting quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. Right. 2 weeks from now, she'll be sleeping with the backup.
Fair
enough?
Fair.
All right. It did make me think, though, watching all the quarterback play. And obviously we had the big game between the Lions and the Chicago Bears. I mean, just a beatdown of 50 burger. Welcome back home, Ben Johnson. We hate you. I'm going to remind you had nothing to do with our success as an offense, dropping a 52-point burger. The Chicago Bears look terrible in this game. It's kind of what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
We both loved the Lions to get back in the winning column after their embarrassing loss, to Green Bay. And look, Caleb Williams ain't the dude. Sorry.
Nope.
And after watching last night's game and the Atlanta Falcons taking care of business against the Minnesota Vikings, I can tell you another guy who ain't the guy, and that's J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy, to be fair, has played 8 quarters of football in the NFL, and 7 of them stunk. He had one good quarter, the fourth quarter last week, which earned him NFC Offensive Player of the Week, which was crazy to me.
Yeah.
But the reality is that you got to start looking at that draft again, I think, a little bit differently. Because it was obviously, Jaden Daniels 1, Bo Nix 2, Caleb Williams 3 for some people. We didn't know about McCarthy. We only saw Penix a couple games last year. But having watched every game thus far that I can watch, J.J. McCarthy stinks. And imagine if you're a Viking fan. You won 14 games last year with Sam Darnold, who looked pretty good thus far this year in the NFL. Seattle lost that week 1 game, obviously, to San Francisco. Came back and took care of business against Pittsburgh yesterday, and Sam was good in the game. But you're now looking at a kid who can't play. And I know Kevin O'Connell thinks he's like a future Hall of Famer, and maybe he will be. But right now, if I had to re-rank that draft class, Jaden's still number 1, but it's close because the dude I thought couldn't play, I was wrong on this. Michael Penix looks pretty good.
He does. He looks competent.
He looks absolutely competent. Again, their offense wasn't great. That was a 9-6 game, in the second half, so it wasn't like he was lighting it up.
Settled for a lot of field goals.
But he appears competent, and I think right now the battle for number 1 is Bo Nix. Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. I know the Denver Broncos lost yesterday on a BS referee call on a missed field goal at the end of the game, which gave them a much shorter field goal to win the game. And the Indianapolis Colts took care of business when they got the extra try and they beat the Broncos. If I'm Denver, I'm livid. I'm sick to my stomach that the referees cost me a game. I had one. On the flip side, if I'm the Colts, I'm 2-0 with Daniel Jones as my starting quarterback, and I took advantage of a questionable best call. But I did learn something about Bo Nix. Bo Nix can play. He's going to make some bad mistakes, Brett Favre style, but it is a 2-horse race. There ain't anybody else in the race. It is Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. They both went to the playoffs last year. Good chance they both go back to the playoffs again this year. But Caleb can't play. And the deal with Caleb is this. You get that one random throw where you're like, golly, that's a great throw. No one else can make it. And then 15 bad throws. That's a bad offense. That's a bad quarterback. J.J. McCarthy, bad quarterback. Penix is third in that draft class right now if we were redrafting it.
Yeah, that's what
But it's a two-horse race. Fair enough?
Absolutely, and one guy's been spectacular at times. We'll see if Nick's can.
We got 2 games tonight. We'll give you picks of those games later on, and we're going to take a look at the top quarterbacks in the league right after this on the Craig Carton Show.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It was nice to see that even though they couldn't follow the same blueprint as last season or just the way that everyone thought their offense was going to run this year, Josh Jacobs struggled and Jordan Love stepped up. And if you're a Packer fan, that's what you were hoping to see, is that in the moments where you can't rely on the run, can the quarterback that you invested a lot of money into, now draft capital, putting weapons around him, rise to the occasion, and he did.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
When the game is on the line and provide the kill shot to knock out an opponent. It's like they're afraid to put the Buffalo Bills away. The safer call was giving it to Derrick Henry and giving it to Lamar Jackson on the ground, as opposed to putting it in your MVP's hands and allowing him to make plays in the passing attack. I just don't understand it.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
They trade Marina Mabry, then they turn around, and then obviously they fire Teresa Weatherspoon, and it's been a hot mess. You go and, draft Cardozo and Reese, basically 2 of the same player, meaning bigs that can't step out and shoot. So it's a little bit of a clown show when you talk about the Chicago Sky.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I have a perpetual smile on my face today because Kansas City lost again. The Philadelphia Eagles own the Kansas City Chiefs. And to listen to Chiefs fans and read all their whining and complaining online about the refs screwed us, for a franchise that has benefited more from egregious officiating than any franchise maybe since the Brady Patriots, and maybe including the Brady Patriots, it is so rich and it warms the cockles of my heart like a good bowl of chicken noodle soup in the wintertime to listen to Chiefs fans complain about how unfair the tush push is, how unfair the officiating was because the Eagles' offensive line jumped off sides pre-snap. They did.
Yeah.
We all saw it. No one's even disputing it. Wah! The refs didn't call it our way. For a team that's got more calls, especially phantom calls, than any franchise in a couple decades, to be complaining about the referees and the unfairness of the tush push, I just love it. I can't get enough of it. It's probably going to cause the tush push to eventually be outlawed.
Yeah, eventually.
Because it'll be such a big, cry about it. Even I forget who the former ref was on the Fox broadcast yesterday, saying, I'm sick and tired of the tush push. It's impossible to officiate. No, it's not.
What's that?
The Chiefs lined up in the neutral zone.
Right.
You could have thrown a flag on that. The Eagles jumped by a millisecond. Could have called a flag on that.
Offsetting.
The way
penalties.
I see it is, you cheated a little bit.
Right.
We cheated a little bit. No harm, no foul.
I agree.
That's how I see it. Yeah. But for Chiefs fans to be complaining, I love it. You should be complaining about your future Hall of Fame tight end because he ain't even in it.
Nope.
He's continued from that lackluster Super Bowl performance. He has been terrible. I mean, he doesn't have double-digit catches yet this year. 4 catches yesterday, and, of course, has the huge drop that goes right into, what's the Eagles defensive back's name?
Makuba.
The
rookie out of Texas.
Yeah, he's that new kid, right?
Yep, rookie out of Texas.
So Makuba catches it, goes like 50 yards up the field, and there's Travis going, woo-hoo, My hands have let me down yet again. To hither, to whither. My hands are no longer the hands I used to have. Yeah, because you don't put in the time anymore, I guess. You're not focused like you used to be. Because your fiance, my fiance, was at the game. Come on now. Come on, buddy. And by the way, Mahomes hasn't been Mahomes either. A couple Superman plays here and there. Great. He's awesome. Obviously, I still think he's the best quarterback in the league, but misses a wide open Thornton for an easy 70-yard touchdown that would have changed the specter of the game. They have no running game. They're not committed to the run. That's an Andy Reid issue, always has been. Worthy's not coming back anytime soon. And then they did something that really kind of rankled me. Before I get to my top 5 quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
A good number of Kansas City Chiefs players yesterday wore a T-shirt before the game that I found objectionable. I'm not one of those guys that's like, I can't believe you wore something. Like, I don't care typically. But a bunch of guys, including Travis Kelce, wore a T-shirt pregame. There you see it right there. That says free 4. Okay? 4 in this case is Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice was suspended for 6 games without pay by the NFL because you may remember the specifics of it. If not, I'll give it to you real quick. He was racing.
Yep, drag racing.
He was drag racing with another buddy of his in like Lamborghinis or something. He was doing 120 miles per hour in like a residential zone. He pled guilty to not 1 but 2 felonies. He fled the scene of the accident. He settled out of court with one of the victims because there were serious and significant injuries that required hospital time. And the grace of God alone is why no one died, thank God, in this terrible racing incident. He settled with one of the victims for $1 million out of court. He owes $100,000 in restitution. And there were, as I said, serious injuries. So the NFL wanted to suspend him double-digit games. They came up with an agreement with the union that he'll miss the first 6 games without pay, and he'll be ready in week 7. He's going to play this year.
Yeah.
All right? 2 felonies, not 1. He ain't going to prison. I think he had a 30-day sentence.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, they're going to make it easy for him.
Yeah, and after the season.
So he got like a 30-day sentence, but he doesn't have to serve any of it until after the season.
Right.
Tell me who else gets that kind of deal, okay? And the Chiefs are wearing shirts as if he's Nelson Mandela. Like he's being imprisoned for nothing.
Yeah.
Or like, the system has brought him down and it's an injustice that needs to be righted. Like, my man, you couldn't be more tone deaf. There are people that went to the hospital, people that could have lost their lives because he was drag racing down in Dallas, Texas. And then, knowing there was an accident in which people were hurt, he left the scene. And you're rocking a T-shirt, free Rashee Rice? Come on now.
It's crazy.
Come on now. Like, know the situation. I appreciate a friend supporting a friend. I'm not saying you turn your back on him. He obviously was immature, did something stupid, got very lucky that no one died, and he'll be able to live the rest of his life and make a lot of money as a professional football player. I don't begrudge him that. He should be allowed to do that once he pays, his debt to society and to the victims. But the tone-deaf level on players, including Travis Kelce, acting like, the system or the government or the police or the DA are somehow infringing on the rights of Rashee Rice? Come on now. That is a bad look, and that is completely tone-deaf, which brings me now to your top 5 teams, quarterbacks rather, in the NFL. Am I doing teams here or quarterbacks? Quarterbacks, right? That's what I thought. I can read my own writing. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Your top 5 quarterbacks after 2 weeks of play. I want to be clear. I'm not including tonight's games because I've got the Raiders and the Chargers, the Texans and Tampa. None of those guys are going to make my list anyway.
Herbert might.
Herbert was going to be close. Yeah. But none of those guys are making my list. The Texans still haven't even thrown a touchdown. No. So C.J. Stroud anymore. That's all right. Number 1, you could debate 1 maybe, but I'm a Lamar Jackson guy. Another 40-burger. Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in football.
Can't argue.
You with me on that?
Love it, 100%.
Now, the close second, and again, if you want to flip-flop 1 and 2, I ain't mad at you. Don't yell at me. I'm happy flip-flopping 1 and 2. It's Josh Allen. Josh Allen puts a 30-burger, seems like everyone does these days, on the Jets defense. All right? Those 2 guys And I would say I think Josh Allen does it with less than what Lamar Jackson has. But if you could flip-flop them, I got Lamar number 1. I've got Josh Allen number 2. Brings me to number 3. It's funny. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Mm-hmm. He'll finish his career. He's already top 10, total passing yards, and he's got a Super Bowl ring. But the Rams are 2-0, and nobody talks about them like they're a Super Bowl threat. They are. They are. And Matt Stafford is the 3rd best quarterback in the NFL.
And he's the most underrated of all those quarterbacks, other than Jalen Hurts. In the whole league, other than
Jalen Hurts is probably the most disrespected.
Yeah.
Stafford doesn't get talked about the way Allen and Lamar do, or even Mahomes.
Right.
And all that guy does.
Or like Breeze did.
Yeah.
And guys like that who had the gaudy numbers.
And yet every year, and we said it, I remember last year, what's the one team you don't want to play in the playoffs?
It's always them.
And it's always going to be the Rams because you have a great coach. You have a great quarterback. They can run the ball well now. Mm-hmm. They added Devontae Adams. I'm just telling you, we all sleep on the Rams. I'm not sure if it's an East Coast bias, but we sleep on the Rams.
They played the Eagles
And the Rams, they played the Titans. The Titans suck. Mm-hmm. Maybe the worst roster I've ever seen. But they did what you're supposed to do. Double-digit win. Game was never close. So I have Matthew Stafford 3rd on my list. Number 4, he jumps up a spot from my original start of the season list, is Jalen Hurts. His stats are never going to match the top statistical quarterbacks in the league for a few reasons. The Eagles don't need them to. He'll have a 300-yard game this year. He won't have a lot of them. He'll have a couple because he doesn't need to. Jalen Hurts, all that kid does is win, win, win no matter what. And when you look at the battle between him and Patrick Mahomes, who has been the best quarterback in football, Hurts has now won 3 consecutive games against him. So Jalen Hurts is my 4th best quarterback in football. And that brings me to number 5. Shocker at number 5. Because you got to base it on the 2 games they've played. Can't base it on last year, the year before. Right. I'm basing it on what I've seen this year. The 5th best quarterback in football 2 weeks in, it's Daniel Jones.
What?
I said Daniel Jones.
Oh, okay, I just want to make sure.
Daniel Jones and the Colts are 2-0, and he is 2nd in the league in every statistical category you care about. And it's about time, if we're going to mock a guy when he stinks and put him down, when a dude balls out, he deserves the flowers. Daniel Jones is the 5th best quarterback in football 2 weeks in. Much more football coming your way, including picks on tonight's game coming up.
It was nice to see that even though they couldn't follow the same blueprint as last season, or just the way that everyone thought their offense was going to run this year, Josh Jacobs struggled and Jordan Love stepped up. And if you're a Packer fan, that's what you were hoping to see, is that in the moments where you can't rely on the run, can the quarterback that you invested a lot of money into, now draft capital, putting weapons around him, rise to the occasion, and he did.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
There's a little bit of a kerfluffle earlier today when there's an exception taken to a punt that wasn't given, and just the reactions were pretty unilateral from both sides of like, hey, that's not behavior that we're going to tolerate at this type of competition.
Can you talk to me about kerfluffle again? Can you run that word back? I've never heard that word before.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Who wants to go to Chicago in February for a Super Bowl? Hey, the NFL can host outdoor parties on Lake Michigan. Stop the madness at this point. But now I take a look at the Denver Broncos. Always fun in the Mile High City. Why? Because what a home field advantage. It's at elevation. It's going to be cold. It might snow, and Denver's going to have that advantage. You know what Denver goes? We're going to build a world-class facility that's going to be a dome.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. We only have an hour, so it's on Mondays. You got to squeeze everything into the show. So there's a lot of the stuff we'd go much longer form on. We just don't have a lot of time to do it. So my apologies on that. So I want to go around the league and sports in general from the weekend because it's Monday with some news and notes and random stories that we have to at least get to and address, even if it's only 30 seconds. Yesterday was a great day, unless you're a Jet fan, Giant fan, or your team lost. But good news in that Denver Colt game. The dildos were back.
Oh, they're back.
So that's a celebration. There you go. Fan video right there. Good solid throw. That's like a 40-yard throw.
Another freakazoid picking it up with his bare hands.
Bare-handed pickup.
What is going on here? That's nasty, people. That's nasty.
Yeah, Broncos got screwed in that game. So the Colts had a chance for like a 50-some-odd-yard field goal with basically all zeros on the clock, right? And they missed the kick badly, wide right, like a really bad kick. And then they said that someone on the Broncos used another player to elevate himself up over the line. I saw the replay. I thought it was a horrendous call.
Hope the guy just jumped.
But 15, and it's a 15-yard penalty. It's unsportsmanlike. So what was a 50-some-odd-yard field goal became like a 40-yard field goal. And the dude nailed it right down dead center. So the Indianapolis Colts kind of steal a victory from Denver. Denver drops to 1-1. The Colts go to 2-0 with Danny Jones, and Taylor's a badass running back.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, the weird thing in Indianapolis is that the gal who inherited the team when Mr. Irsay passed away, I don't know if it was his daughter or daughter-in-law.
I believe this is one of the daughters.
Okay.
The one you're talking about is a daughter.
Got it. This gal's all in. Like, I love it. She's got headsets on. She's taking notes. And someone said to her, why are you doing that? Like, some of the players may not like it. She goes, well, how am I going to know who's at fault for things and who deserves credit for things? Sometimes we just blame the players blindly. But if I hear the play call, maybe it was the coach's fault. And she goes, I want to know. I love that. If I'm a Colts fan, finally we're going to hold people accountable. But the Colts are 2-0, so good for them. Number two, crazy story over the weekend that the Baltimore Ravens wanted to draft Shedeur Sanders. They were going to draft him before the Browns got a chance to.
Right.
Same round, though, 5th-round pick. And when they reached out to Shedeur Sanders had the balls to tell the Baltimore Ravens, don't draft me. I ain't a backup. And obviously, if you go to Baltimore, you are the backup to Lamar Jackson.
Right, forever.
Now, Lamar Jackson gets hurt now and then because he's a scrambling quarterback as well as a pocket quarterback. So he's more likely he's going to miss a game here or there, and he has throughout his career. But that's why Shedeur turned so many people off. The Baltimore, you have a chance to learn next to Lamar Jackson, and you said no to that? That's how you wind up in Cleveland. That was a crazy story. In Milwaukee and Philly, congratulations. The Brewers and Phillies, first two teams to wrap up and clinch postseason berth. We know who's getting in more or less outside of maybe the final wild card. But mathematically, Phillies, I think it's their 4th consecutive year clinching. Yep. And give Milwaukee credit. Milwaukee keeps losing dudes and executives, and all they do is keep winning. So they're the first 2 National League teams to clinch. A number of others will start clinching here coming up this week. Speaking of baseball, everybody knows that little guy, Ken Rosenthal.
Yeah, bow tie.
Used to cover baseball for MLB Network, got fired. I think he works at Fox now. He's like 4 feet tall. Watch this video real quick. Ken Rosenthal about to do an interview. Gets out of the way of the Gatorade, but knocks over a cameraman and then gives the cameraman the death stare and makes no attempt to help him up. Like the cameraman was doing his job. He was on one knee taking a still shot right here. Ken knocks him over and then death stares him and makes no attempt to help the guy up.
Yeah, that's the look my mom would give me if I forgot to take the ground beef out of the freezer.
Right.
That death look.
Now
like
we're
that
not eating dinner today.
That death stare, like that. Look at that right there. I mean, what did the guy do?
Your suit doesn't fit, and you're not a little guy. Like, come on. Little people supposed to be happy.
Come on, little Kenny. Now, listen, I feel bad because from everything I've heard, Ken Rosenthal's a nice fella.
I've heard both. I've heard great guy, awesome. You'd love to have a beer with him. Yeah. And I've heard pretentious, egotistical maniac. But I've heard both. So I've never met the man.
Give him every benefit of the doubt. Perhaps this cameraman has been in his crosshairs before.
Probably not.
And he's sitting there going, again? You in my way again? If it's one more time.
And then, not even arguably, the greatest, most entertaining post-game press conference yesterday. After another loss, the Dolphins are now 0-2. There's no setup to this other than here's Mike McDaniel explaining to reporters about winning and losing. And you tell me this guy's not getting fired. Go ahead.
To win games, you have to win the game, not lose the game, honestly. And that is how you lose the game. You're moving the ball down the field. You're 1st and 10, and then you find yourself at 2nd and 20.
Yeah. I mean, he comes across like a beaten down guy.
Yeah.
And I get it, right? You've only made the playoffs twice. You know, the bloom is off the rose. No one's talking about you the way they used to. Tyreek Hill did have a good day yesterday. Had over 100 yards receiving. Tua had a decent day until he threw a ridiculously stupid interception that cost them the game. That was a fun game to watch, actually. It was a lot of back and forth scoring. But the Dolphins are now 0-2, and that guy just came across like a beaten man. Like, you know, there was a punt return for a touchdown, which was followed by a kick return for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. So 2 touchdowns in 12 seconds, fastest ever, I believe, in NFL history. And you somehow managed to let Drake May and the New England Patriots score 33 points against you. I know you're not known as a defensive guy, but you are the guy that said, hey, Philly, you want a top 5 defensive coordinator?
Right.
Yeah, Fangio don't work down here for us. Right. You guys take him. Philly won a Super Bowl with him.
No compensation either. They just let him have him.
They let him go. And that Mike McDaniel just comes across like a broken guy. I cannot see him making it through the entire season here with the Miami Dolphins. And the only good thing for the Dolphins is that the New York Jets stink like they always do. So they're 0-2. And the Bills are winning the division anyway.
Right.
It's the Bills and everybody else, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I'm starting to question McVay. I'm not questioning because he keeps winning.
Yep.
But for a while there, if you just knew McVay, you would get a job. Sure. Perhaps these people need to. You're starting to see that just because you know Sean McVay doesn't mean you can coach like him. But it's happening more and more around the league.
Yeah, it is happening more and more. And by the way, speaking of San Francisco, just real quick, obviously they win with Mac Jones as their starting quarterback. But consider this. The 2 games in now, San Francisco has won both games with huge defensive stands because both games were close. Both games they could have lost on a drive by the opponent, okay? Seattle in week 1 and then yesterday as well, okay?
Saints,
against the Saints. And the reality is this. The guy that's in charge of that defense is Robert Saleh. And that defense won the game in week 1 and week 2. But he wasn't good enough for New York. Make that make sense. We got 2 games tonight. We'll get into them. And a final thought about yesterday right after this.
The sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
He says, you can't get in the position Tiger, Rory, Justin Thomas. Those guys are this tall. You're never gonna be as flexible as them. You got a lot more leverage and you got a lot of more moving parts than those dudes.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to tell your friends, and subscribe to the YouTube channel where we're live every day from 11 to 12. Also live via SportsGrid on X, and we're on every platform throughout the day. Go, what do you got?
We have our highest amount of viewers so far on the YouTube, so far live on the page,
Great.
separate from SportsGrid. We thank the SportsGrid people as well, but the chat's been lively the whole time.
Great. I get a laptop tomorrow. But then they tell me it takes 2 days for it to be set up. So by Friday, I'll be knee-deep in the chat room.
In the chat.
If you are just tuning in and you're just getting about your senses, especially West Coast, it is official now. Joe Burrow done again. Joe Burrow's got a third degree, or the third degree, is that they call it?
Yeah, it's pretty
Grade
serious. 3
turf toe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It seems like a silly injury for an NFL player to have, but
needs surgery.
It apparently needs surgery, meaning he's out for 3 months. So when you look at Joe Burrow and you start adding it to all the other times Joe Burrow has missed time, 2020 torn ACL, MCL, PCL, meniscus. The dislocated pinky in 21, the MCL sprain in 22, the torn wrist in 23, missed 10 games, and now this. So you're talking about minimum 10 games now he's going to miss. The upside is that the Bengals are 2-0. Bengals are 2-0. They're in first place in the division by a game over Baltimore. Obviously haven't played each other just yet. Jake Browning, who frankly wasn't great yesterday, had 3 picks and 2 tutties, but good enough to lead them on a game-winning drive. So Cincinnati, I'm sure by the end of the day today, worst case tomorrow, will bring in either a free agent quarterback, a journeyman you've heard of for sure, or you can make a quick trade. I think Kirk Cousins is the obvious answer because he's not going to play. Why not do a trade? Mm-hmm. Low-round draft pick, get a veteran quarterback that's had success in the league, go get Kirk Cousins. That makes sense to me. Or if you're really trying to be creative, I would do a deal with the New York Giants. Russell Wilson's been great. Well, let me say that. Russell Wilson was terrible week 1. He was great yesterday. 400-plus yards, more yards than any quarterback in the game. And also, it was his best game of his career. From a yard standpoint.
Second best.
That was the second best?
Only 2 yards more one time.
That counts as best to me. Yeah. We're nibbling over a yard.
I looked it up.
You're nibbling. You're a habitual nibbler. You know that. But the Giants are desperate to go to Jackson Dart, man. You have a quarterback throwing for 400 yards, and they took him out.
To hand off.
To run the ball.
Why?
That made no sense at all. So you know Jackson Dart's eventually going to be their starter.
Yeah.
Let the Giants pivot to Jackson. Let Jameis Winston be the backup. And send Russell Wilson, who played really good football yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys, send him to Cincinnati. I mean, the season's right there. You're 2-0. You know, who knows the way the rest of the season goes, considering the teams that we thought would be good, like the Chiefs, who aren't very good. We got 2 games tonight. We got, by the way, NFL, nobody likes this.
No one.
We Thursdays we're good with. The opening Friday we're good with. We can figure out the Christmas stuff. We're fine with it. Okay, good. Nobody wants the doubleheader on Monday night.
Nobody.
Because you can't watch both games. And we want to watch them. So Tampa-Houston is the first game.
Yes.
You have a thought on that game? You want to make a pick?
Yeah, I don't love this game, but I do like Texas a little bit, minus the 2.5 at home versus the Bucks. I don't love this game. This is probably a stay away for me as far as betting, but Texas, the side to me is Texas.
Texas haven't thrown a touchdown yet this year. They only played 1 game. They did not look good. The Texans, C.J. Stroud did not look good.
Defense has been good. Offense
The defense has always been good.
Right.
Since last 3 years.
Since Stroud's been there.
But that offense is like, what the heck's wrong with that offense? I can't quite figure it out. Tampa, everyone knows I'm a Baker dude. I know Texans are favored at home, but I never pick against Baker Mayfield. I will pick Tampa to win every game this year because I love me some Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and then this was a stay away from me. I'm uncomfortable with it.
And then the late game is Raiders-Chargers.
Yeah.
This is a big game because winner of this game goes to 2-0, meaning a 2-game lead over the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
So this is a big game. Chargers obviously haven't played since the Brazil game, so plenty of rest for this. Vegas actually looked better than I thought they would.
Yeah.
I give Pete Carroll credit. I give Geno Smith credit.
Yep.
So this is a game for at least early season supremacy in the AFC West. You like this game?
Yeah, I like this game. I like the Chargers minus the 3.5. The half-point move today, that half point does something for me on the road like that. I like the Chargers as road favorites to beat the Raiders.
All right, there you go. Remember, if you're going to wager, don't be aggressive. Don't chase bad losses. If you lost your money yesterday, don't bet tonight because
Treat it
you
like a
have
business.
to.
Yep, treat
Just
it like
let
a
it go.
business.
Live to fight another day. And speaking of fighting, congratulations to Terrence Crawford,
Big win.
who now becomes one of his generation's greatest fighters, undisputable, and took care of Canelo. Not the greatest fight.
No.
Matter of fact, he was down on a lot of cards going into the final 2 rounds.
Yeah, somehow.
And just dominated the last 2 rounds. But the star of the show was Red De La Cruz. There you go.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, Red De La Cruz is a UFC ring girl and was the star ring girl of the fight Saturday night. So good job, Dana White. Appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow morning on the Craig Carton Show. Peace.